Giants fall yet again. Last night in Kansas City, walk-off, 4-3 the final after Willy Adames has a game-tying home run at the top of the ninth. They got walked off in the bottom of the ninth. Willy Adames not on the bag, trying to throw out the runner at second, bunt up the first base side. Bryce Eldridge, inexperience, doesn't get the job done there. Night, see you later. And again, a homecoming of sorts for Tony Vitello. And it's a guy I kind of want to stick on for a second too, because in a weird way, if you are going to reset this thing and do a total blow up, the guy I actually want to keep is not Minasian, is not Buster Posey. I would keep Tony Vitello because I think he is more suited to manage a very young and inexperienced kind of roster because of his college days. Because what are you doing at the college level, Joe? Handling young, inexperienced players. It's a different game. I understand that. There's metal bats. You're not relying on as many pitchers. It's been a trial by fire for him this year. It has not gone the way I think he imagined it. That being said, all the comments that he has kind of put out there, and it might be different behind the scenes, I can't speak to that, but the comments he's put out in the open and in public sure makes it seem like he wants to stay in the big leagues and doesn't want to go back to the collegiate level. And he's kind of wearing it, but he's saying he's still wanting to do this thing and see it through. I would like to see it through with Tony Vitello. If it's going to be the Eldridges, if it's going to be the Schmitz, if you're going to keep Jung Hoo Lee, if you're going to keep some of your young 20-year-olds, I think that is better suited for him than trying to give him this win now team. Like, do I think he could have handled the Philadelphia Phillies and all of those egos immediately? Maybe not. Maybe he would have been eaten alive there. I don't think he's being eaten alive here with Willy Adames, with Chapman, with Raffy Devers. I just think he was handed a team that was not confident in what they were. They didn't know if they were a veteran-laden team. They didn't know if they wanted to go through a youth movement. They're kind of tossing it up in the air, and they handed Tony Vitello this roster and said, here, Tony, make it work. And in reality, I don't think any manager could have made this thing work.
Yeah,
I don't
but
think
still hasn't been good.
No, I'm not saying.
He's made a lot of mistakes.
Sure.
And I'm not seeing the growth. And he was brought in, look, fair or not, he was brought in to clean up the fundamentals and the focus. And that hasn't, and if anything, it might have gotten worse.
And who is that on him more or is it on the players?
It's on everyone. And ultimately it does fall on coaching. But veterans got to go out and execute. But I mean, Tony's supposed to tell his 31-year-old shortstop who's making $200 million to cover the bag.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, shouldn't Willy Adames know this at this point?
But like the Bryce Eldridge play, like, is a great example. It's a young player making a mistake at the end of the game, a physical mistake at the end of the game. Those happen. I can live with that. I mean, I can.
Yeah.
I mean, I just
that's
can.
What I'm saying. Like, I would much rather feel better about Tony Vitello if he's trying to develop these guys at a young level, because he's been doing that for the last 10, 15 years in the college game. That's what you're doing, right? In college baseball, you watch it more than me. Are you working on fundamentals in college? Yes,
but it's just very, very different because in baseball, you're not really practicing. You have pregame routines. I mean, it's games every day. Development is very different. But as I've learned, it's not just development in between games. It's development within the game as well. And I think that on this team, there's not a lot of talking in that dugout in between games. Guys kind of know what they want to do. If anything, like let's look at Raffy Devers. How many managers really just don't want to deal with Raffy Devers? Just ask that question out loud.
Well, the Boston Red Sox didn't, and they're on a 14-game winning streak right now. I don't think a lot of managers want to deal with an overinflated contract and you not holding up your end of the bargain when it comes to, being a team player.
He's sensitive.
No, he hasn't been. And again, the walk back of, I wasn't showing up. My manager, I was just saying, hey, I'm healthy. I could run. No, you can't. Even when you are healthy, Raffy, you are as slow as molasses, dude. It's you and Bryce Eldridge, the two slowest players on the team. We need a pinch runner. We're trying to tie this game. Sit your ass on the bench. All right? And you have the nerve to show up your manager like you've been this hot thing for the last year. No. The Boston Red Sox, who won a World Series with you, couldn't wait to get rid of your ass. They couldn't wait to ship you off. They got rid of you. And they got rid of Bregman. And they've gotten rid of their manager. And they're not looking back. So don't sit here and act like you're better than whatever the San Francisco Giants are. You're not, dude. You're not. There's a reason you're here right now and not in Boston anymore.
It's just, look, he's a good player. Like Raffy, he's a very good player. But
is he a good player for the price point?
Well, $26 million is not bad. It really isn't.
But $26 million for how many more years?
That's the amount of years is definitely a part of it. But he is a good player. The problem is that your best player coming up plays the exact same position.
Yes.
And needs a lot of work over there defensively. Look, I want you to think about this, Joe. How long did it take for Casey Schmidt to finally have everything click? 2 full years?
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
So if Bryce is doing this right now, imagine what it looks like if he's playing every day defensively a year from now and getting every day at bats a year from now, right?
Listen.
2 years from now.
I know it sounds insane, given where this team is at, given the mental errors. I would be willing to bring Tony Vitello back. I don't want to bring Buster Posey and Zach Minasian back. That might sound insane. And maybe
I don't think it sounds that insane.
Maybe when you're clearing house, the new guy's saying, yeah, I'm going to bring in my own manager. And this happens a lot. Probably. But I've seen it enough. And again, this is going to be a cross-sport analogy and people might roll their eyes. I've seen it enough from the collegiate side of football and the NFL. You go after unproven college guys all the time. And there's a learning curve making that jump. There is. I'm willing to let the learning curve happen during seasons like this and the development of younger guys like Eldridge, like Schmidt, whoever's in their pipeline, bringing those guys up with Tony Vitello. Like, I'm willing to learn that. I'm willing to take those lumps and take those risks. But you got to have the belief system from your front office. And I got to believe in that front office knows what they're doing. And they don't know what they're doing with Buster Posey and Zach Minasian.
Not only are the Red Sox 14 games in a row, it's 22-5 in their last 27.
22-5. And they're 6 games back of the AL East, Joe. 6 games back.
Is there anything more exciting than a team going on like a 1-month surge like that in baseball, where it just feels like every night there's a new hero?
The last time the Giants had a 10-game winning streak was back in 2023, and you were even shocked about that. You're like,
I can't believe that.
You can't even believe it.
That.
I thought it was going to be, the 2021 year. I thought it was going to be that. It wasn't.
I actually remember that 10-game win streak pretty well. Like, that was a fun. Well, I just remember that it ended against the Padres. It was a day game.
Yes.
I remember we did our final thoughts that day. They had won the 10 in a row, and I remember my final thought was, guys, today is a must-win game for the Giants. They have to get 11. And Bonte and Shasky laughed at me, and then they lost. I was sad.
Must win. You think there's somebody on Boston radio? Today's must win.
The must win.
Well, Joe,
you missed that bit that you had, Sam, about the must win Giants.
Well, Joe, you guys remember, they're all must win.
They're all must win.
Thanks, Bonte.
No, what's the dibs? It's a gotta have it game. Not a must win, but it's a gotta have it. By the way, the winning
I would
pitcher
rather be the Red Sox.
Winning pitcher that day, Sam, for the San Diego Padres to snap that Giants 10-game winning streak.
You Darvish.
Snell?
Blake Snell.
No.
Blake,
That's Snelly Snell.
10-0.
Kind of Snell, it smells. Snell.
I get that reference. Shasky is just not, he's not going to get
There's
that.
15 people listening who understand that reference.
I think
So Willie hits this home run
SpongeBob
last night, and this is just so...
You're watching it in the studio right now.
And look, they're dancing, they're throwing, and I want them to be happy. I want these guys to enjoy it. Like, I really do. I don't want to be the sourpuss old guy. Ramos is chest bumping him. I mean, and they keep the camera on him. He's high-fiving everybody. They're going fired. You'll see Bryce Eldridge will come up to him, boom, right there, hugging him. Then you get Devers, and Jung Hoo Lee comes over, and he's chest bumping everybody. You got to follow that up with covering second base, my guy. Like, you just got to.
Yeah.
You just got to.
Yeah. Trevor McDonald, big loss there. I mean, he was kind of a bright spot is strong, but he was a fun guy to like follow along. It's like, hey, could they develop an arm this season? That would be great heading into next season, because at least last year, right, you had Landon Roop develop. And it's like, wow, okay, like that's a piece potentially for the future. He looked pretty good prior to getting hurt.
Landon Roop's been okay this year.
Landon Roop's been okay, but Trevor McDonald was going to be maybe the Landon Roop of last year. That clearly not happening, and he's getting imaging now in his elbow.
Yeah, that's not good.
It's not good, and it just sucks. As this season started off, basically with Hayden Birdsong having Tommy John.
Imaging on the elbow, it's a precursor to UCL Tommy John. Anything forearm, okay? Forearm, wrist, elbow, be alarmed.
And that's going to be how many Tommy Johns potentially if that happens for the Giants? 3? Randy?
Buto.
Right? Oh, that's 4 then. Buto.
Yeah. Birdsong.
And then potentially Trevor McDonald.
And hopefully it's not super serious.
No, hopefully it's not. But
I mean, he said he had to grip the ball harder because of how much he was sweating. So hopefully that's what was going on, and he didn't trigger something worse.
And listen, don't shoot the messenger here. Is there any excuse at all for Buster, Minasian, and Vitello if we go to injuries? Is there any excuses that you're going to... I know, Joe, your mouth agape. Are we giving them any excuses?
The look on Shasky's face there.
Fully healthy, this team still comes up way, way short.
Well, if they had Randy Rodriguez...
He wasn't a great closer. He had like 3 opportunities to close.
No, but he's a great setup man.
No, I agree, but they still would have a huge gaping hole at closer. I like Randy Rodriguez in the high leverage 6th, 7th, and 8th inning. I did not like him as a closer. And I like Randy Rodriguez more than most.
I mean, if Elliot Ramos had stayed healthy with this bat, maybe that changes things from top to bottom. Maybe it's a domino effect. Again,
Joe, this might be the worst bullpen in my life.
Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just being the devil's advocate here.
I don't know.
It might be the worst.
I don't think it's injuries. It's so much if your 3 highest paid players played to their expectation all year long and your bullpen pitched more like last year's bullpen than this year's bullpen.
And again, it is hard.
And they rode a magical carpet, to the stadium.
And if they just scored more runs than the other team every game, I think they probably have a better season.
Also, I'm kind of out on the injury excuse after I just watched the San Francisco 49ers last year.
Exactly.
On all the injuries in the world, and yet they were a game away from the NFC Championship game.
Mike Dunleavy would probably blame the injuries, though, for this team.
That is true. Dunleavy said when healthy, they are one of the best teams, and no one wants to face them in the playoffs, Sammy.
Joe, this is a simple at-bat right here in the 9th inning to start off. Boom. Let me put the ball in play down the line. Look how far off the line Casey Schmidt is. This guy who's 0 for 3 heading into this game who relies on speed, bottom of the order. And you're playing him like he's going to pull, like he's Carlos Delgado in his prime. It's the little stuff on this team. All the details are off on this team.
I have the MLB standings up. Just because I'd like to follow these things because I'm a sick individual. Kansas City Royals, 2nd worst team in baseball.
Yeah, they're so much faster than you.
2nd worst team record-wise because the first two worst teams are tied, the Rockies and the Angels, and then you got the Kansas City Royals, who look better than the San Francisco Giants right now.
I just did the throw down. I'm watching it right now. I just can't with Willie. And then he tried to he's like, oh, why are you throwing to me? It's like, dude, you got to be there. You got to be at the bag.
12 years ago, these two teams faced each other in a World Series. 12 years ago.
Seems like lifetime.
Seems like forever ago. And although the Royals, will give them a little more credit, they've had a little more recent success because in 2015, they got back to the World Series and beat the New York Mets. And Ned Yost was a champion. Remember that name? Boom, Yosted. Hey, Tony. What's going on with Trevor McDonald?
He's got a little discomfort in his right elbow, I think in particular on a slider there during the warm-ups. So getting looked at by our people. We'll go from here.
Probably get imaging on that.
I would assume so. And Beck will be with us tomorrow. So let's see what McDonald's got.
And this was interesting on the broadcast last night in the pre and post game. Sergio Romo sitting with our guy, Bonte Hill, and Bonte's going to be joining us in the 9 o'clock hour presented by Ceremony Ford, your Bay Area Ford dealer. Sergio Romo on how gripping the ball can cause elbow discomfort.
We're talking elbow there, and that is something that I've experienced myself, having pitch in humidity and having sweat on reach to the palm of my hand or to my fingertips, where I did lose grip, especially being slider heavy as I was. It did make me grip the ball a little bit more firm, try to put the ball a little bit more deeper into my hand as opposed to more on my fingertips, and I did end up having to torque the ball, put a little bit more torque on the ball to get it to break, to be as consistent as I normally would be. So I could see where he would feel something different in the elbow, and kudos to him for being able to put his pride and his ego to the side and think of his career and think of the future, think of the team as well, to sit there and say something about the elbow.
Well, hopefully it's what Sergio's saying right there. The humidity, the grip, all of that. Maybe it just played a factor and it's nothing too serious. But again, I'm kind of scarred if I'm a Giants fan waking up this morning with all the injuries we've seen and all the different Tommy John surgeries we've seen. It's not like Trevor McDonald was, Cy Young out here, but he was a positive storyline at times for a season that has not a lot of positive storylines. So that would be just another damper on an already just horrible season for the San Francisco Giants if Trevor McDonald did have a serious injury.